afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live broadcast of Hope for the Holidays. You know me, I'm Angela Reed, and I am here with none other than entrepreneur, mompreneur, wife, all these things, but most importantly to me, my friend, Belinka Carter. Welcome, Belinka.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. So glad you had me, Angela.
I am so glad you are here. Friends, family that are watching, let us know you're watching today. We've shared it out this week, but we'd love to see the engagement from you. So while we're having our conversation today, post in the chat. We'll be responding to those comments from you. But I am thrilled that, Belinka, you accepted my invitation to join today, and you are rounding out my series. You're the final Sunday of Hope for the Holidays, as we just celebrated Christmas. So let's open with that. How was Christmas for the Carter household?
Oh, it was good. I'm talking about a day of relaxation.
Come on,
My kids got older, 17, 13, 7. So after Brooke got up, opened her gifts, I'm talking about I was on the couch. I cooked breakfast, had my feet up. It was just a day of just nothing.
And we were talking about that right before we went live, of just what a relief that is. A day of just rest. But honestly, I like what you said, a day of nothing. Just no agenda. For me, I was like, okay, we're going to eat this heavy breakfast. I'm going to lay out stuff for everybody to graze off of. I'll graze in the kitchen. But God, aren't we thankful for those days? And because we were all, those that are joining us, we were also talking about 2020. It seemed to go real slow at the top of the year, but we were just talking and saying we've already put our Christmas decorations away.
Yeah, put them up.
Time to keep rolling, keep this thing moving. But I do feel like there was a certain pause around Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, to just rest and reflect and really think about what this year has been. And I want to start, before we go any further, and read those that are joining us that may not know you. Read your bio for just a little bit, because as we talk about the year and what it has brought, we can't negate the things that we could control, but also the things that we couldn't control.
Yeah.
But as I pull up your bio, I'm going to just read off your receipts a bit for those that don't know, and introduce you to those that are meeting you for the first time today. So this is Belinka Carter, everyone. And Belinka Carter is the founder of B&B Threads, which was founded in 2015. After years of wanting to share her light, and of course, just being a fashion enthusiast for her life, she started by selling her daughter Brooke's clothing. And we'll talk more about the B&B and the Brooke in just a minute. But she started selling her daughter's clothes on Instagram. She has just always been a fashion plate. Belinka she's always on point. Like, she's always been a trendsetter. She always just styles everything to the T. And she was watching on Instagram how people were launching clothing lines and t-shirt lines and saying, you know what, I can do that. I've had a passion behind that. She took the leap of faith and launched her own faith-based brand. And I'm proud to say that I'm wearing one of Belinka Carter's shirts today. It's one of my favorites. After growing that company, she decided to just take full control of her business and cut out the middleman of screen printing. And she and her husband have been doing that for a few years now. And she talks about in her bio as well, having her very first customer and how fast her business grew after just that one client. So here we are, 2020. God has moved them from their garage in their home to their own beautiful facility over in Stone Mountain, Georgia, with the name B&B Threads out on the marquee, lit up for everyone to come see. And at the end of the day, she said she and her husband truly count themselves blessed and highly favored. So that's just a bit of Belinka's story, but we're going to open with taking it back to how you and I know each other. Belinka and I were connected through our church, Hope and Life. Shouts out to Hope and Life, Pastor Tony and Gwen Brock, Apostle Steve Brock. And we really started attending church around the same time, right?
Yeah, we was in a new member orientation together. Yep.
We were in the new member orientation together, Belinka and her husband, my husband and I, and we were just, we started attending the church, and we said, okay, let's become new members. Let's be real about this thing and join. And I think we hit it off immediately.
Yeah.
We hit it off immediately. I was like, okay, she is styling. I know, like, she is styled to the T. She looks awesome. You were that big smile, and you were so sweet and friendly. And I remember just how we had so much in common. We talked about growing up in the country. We're both from the country. So many similar things from school and different things that we grew up with. And we just clicked, and I loved it. And we've just been clicking ever since.
Yeah.
And it's been such a joy to watch us both transition, because you were already a mom when we met. And Patrick and I, actually, we were engaged, I think. And I wasn't even a wife yet. So I'm looking at you like, okay, what I do? You the wife, you the mama. But it's just been this awesome kindred fellowship. And let's take it back before you and I even knew each other existed, to little Belinka. Let's start in those humble country roots where, you grew up. And what was little Belinka like then?
Well, my mom used to say boss lady, because I was always, I come from a single parent home, just me, my mom, and my sister. And I was always that one that was very outspoken, just was always driven, just knew what I wanted. And just, growing up in that country life, just a country girl, and just always, just trying to move forward with the things that, my mom would put in place to say, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, or, with my sister. And she just always gave us that confidence to say, hey, whatever you believe that you want to do, you can do it. And I just always had that. My dad would say that, go get them. So if I said I wanted to do something, if I said I wanted something, I was just going to go out and I was going to, find a way to make that happen.
That's it. I, as an observer on the sidelines, can attest to that, because your story is such a story of faith and hope. And I'm just so thankful that people are really getting a chance to hear it. I mean, you've been busy. You're on with me today. I know you're doing a written article coming up that's going to be coming out soon. You just launched and opened the warehouse, the shop in Stone Mountain. So people are starting to learn who Belinka Carter is behind B&B Threads. But we know one B is Belinka. What is the second B for? I know some people are like, I never knew that, when you posted recently on your Instagram page. But tell us about B&B and the foundation of it.
Belinka and Brooke is behind me right here. Belinka and Brooke. It's because it all stemmed from her with the passion. And the back history. We prayed, and our entire congregation, our pastor, Pastor Tony and Pastor Gwen, we were all praying, because I really had a heart desire for a little girl. And that was something I was really believing, for God to do for me. So when Brooke came, it was like something was just, because I always had that passion for fashion, and I love fashion. And it was just something that's really awakening me. I'm like, oh, okay, she's little, and I love those high-end clothes, Zara and all that type of stuff. But I'm like, but she ain't gonna stay little long. So I don't want to be investing all this money. When I got in on these group with Instagram, and I seen all these ladies, and I'm like, oh, they're selling their clothes. So you know what? We'll get her little clothes, and then I'll sell them. And then whatever profit I get, because I had named my Instagram Brooke's Closet. So I was selling her things. And after me being in on Instagram with the different women, and I was seeing them all, they were entrepreneurs, they were doing their thing. I was like, Lord, you know what? I want to launch my own faith-based brand. And it was for not only for adults, but it was for kids too. So I would have like me and Brooke taking pictures with our grateful on. And so it all stemmed from there. Just something that I believe just with her, it just kicked off something. It was just like, hey, you love fashion, you love, and I see other people doing it. You know what, Belinka, you could do it too. So that's where it all started from. From a Facebook post.
From a Facebook post. And I will say, you were one of the first moms I saw doing the twinning. I mean, Belinka, on Sundays, I knew she was coming to church. She and Brooke decked out, B&B, mama, from head to toe, down to the shoes. And now it's this thing. But you always had that. And I want to pull it back, because I don't want those watching this to overlook the power prayer.
Yeah.
And how your village when you have prayer warriors, interceders, people that love you behind you and touching and agreeing on what God has for you, that is powerful beyond measure. And
Mm-hmm.
you started out by saying, I had my heart's desire. I wanted a little girl.
Yeah.
You took it under the cloak of prayer under our leaders at church, and then our village and the people that
Mm-hmm.
surrounded you in prayer for that. We know that God doesn't design accidents. So I
Yeah.
truly believe that your faithfulness to Him and how you planted that desire in your heart, He brought that to fruition as a vehicle for you to live this dream that you now live, that so many people look and say, God, I wish I could do that. I wish I had a
Mm-hmm.
business that I worked with my husband all day, every day, and
Yeah.
this family legacy and doing something that makes me truly happy.
Yeah.
Let's dig a little deeper into that. And you talked about being a natural go-getter. And that's just been what your dad would say, your mom would say, boss lady.
Mm-hmm.
That those titles go to people that just stand up and get stuff done. They're like, okay, I know it needs to get done, and I'm gonna do it. You said it
Yeah.
yourself a moment ago. Well, Lord, I want my own faith-based clothing line.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that come from? Where do you think that go-getter kind of get it done mindset comes from?
I just think it's just God given. I mean, because either you're gonna um, move forward in the God things that God has really, placed in your heart, or you just gonna sit on them.
Mm,
And this is something that you told me, and I remember when we just kind of moving a little further ahead, but we're gonna go back. But when we moved in the building, and I was like, "Oh, Angela, it's just a lot. It's a lot." And you was like, "Belinka, the worst thing can happen is that you was excel among your wildest dreams, or you
mm,
have to pivot." And even today, that's something that even when I get a little weary or I get a little like, Lord, where the people at? Where the customers at?
mm,
When they coming in, send them, Lord. And that little, it comes back to my remembrance.
yeah,
Either you're going to exceed among your wildest dreams or you may have to pivot.
that's
But
it.
I have to know that this is something that God has given us and He's, placed in me. And it's like, and with that go getter, it's like, I can't, there's no room for me to fail. It's like I'm believing, I'm
That's right.
trusting, I'm knowing that God put this here. He put this in me, and it's gonna do wonders. I'm gonna exceed. I'm gonna go forth in what God has given me. And even if I have to step back a little bit, I'm still gonna win.
Mm,
And that's just what I believe. I talk
mm,
about it, I journal it, I just believe those things are gonna come to pass. And when I do get weary, it's like, hey, God saying, I did it before, and
come
He'll
on.
bring me back to my little girl. I did it
That's right.
before. You was believing for that. You was believing for your boys to be healthy.
That's
I
right.
did that before. So this little, oh yeah, I'll do that again.
Mm, that's strong. If anything with that song, if he did it before, he'll do it again.
Again.
Always. Belinka, you said something. I think you. I want to go back to it. I'm gonna rewind the tape and take it back to when you said, you know what, you might have to step back.
Yeah.
I think oftentimes people think step back is a setback when
Yeah.
really they're two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I think about this picture behind me. When my husband was mounting it, I said, okay, we got to step back and look to make sure it's straight and in line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what we got to think about.
Yeah.
It's not a setback. When you step back, you have a bigger picture of the whole thing. And that
Mm-hmm.
way you can make sure, okay, are we in alignment? Do we need to move? Do we need to pivot? What does that look like?
Yeah.
Oftentimes people don't want to accept that. They just want to say, I'm going to push full steam ahead. And if I need to just break something to get through, I'm going to do that. But sometimes it just takes taking a step back for just a minute and say, hang on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
In your case, all right, Kevin, have we outgrown this garage in this house? I think we have. Let's start looking ahead to see how can we expand this with God's favor all along the steps of the way. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want us to miss that point because I think a lot of times people think a step back is a setback, and they're two totally different things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you talked about just that belief And you kept saying, if I believed him before, I can continue to believe him again. And you
Yeah.
also said us. And I want to unpack that us. Who are the people behind B&B Threads besides you? Now we talked about Kevin, but just give us the breakdown of this family-owned legacy business that you've created.
Well, me, Kevin, and the boys. I could say that it's been a lot of long nights at the house in our garage.
Yeah.
I would call it my shop because I had
Yeah.
to get that mindset of that
That's
I'm not
right.
going to my garage, I'm going to my shop. And
Mm-hmm.
in order for me to, move forward to when we
Mm-hmm.
when God would place us into a building,
Yeah.
we had to change our mindset. But yes, me, Kevin, and the boys, God has been faithful that He's allowed him to walk away from his job,
Amen.
and he's in it full time.
Amen.
And the boys, when we need them, of course, sometimes it's a struggle with them, but they, for the most part, I can say they'll help us knock it out. They
Yes.
they really would. They some amazing kids. I can't say that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a blessing to us, for them to even watch something be built from the ground up, and to see where we started and where we're at. It's really just amazing to see that,
Yeah.
for them to be able to see that, to say, hey, you know what, I see my parents, they grinding, they getting it, they making it happen. Ain't nothing being handed to them. They're working for everything for us to be able to be where we're at now, and to help them, you know go to the places that we want them to be able to go. So we're
Right.
blessed in that area, just to have some, and me and Kevin talk about it all the time. We really have some really good kids. We
Yes,
really,
you do.
God has really blessed us with some great boys. And
Yes, you do. Amen for that.
yeah,
Those boys and Sweet Brook, they are just as sweet as they can be, courteous and respectful. And y'all are instilling in them lessons that they won't even touch in school.
yeah,
People think about it. School only gets a child to a certain point, the
hmm,
academic piece of it. But the lessons y'all are creating while building this legacy, that's invaluable. They're
yeah,
going to remember that. I love how you talked about they're going to watch my parents and say, hey, they went after this. They grinded after this. That's instilling in them, if I want it, I can get it too by the grace of God.
yeah,
They
hmm,
are watching y'all submit your business, submit your marriage, submit your family, everything unto God. And
yeah,
they're seeing it blessed. And they're
hmm,
right there alongside you. So not only is it legacy, but that you're passing that story of testimony as well.
hmm,
And that you can, whatever God has purposed for you, whatever package is waiting for you in this life, it can be yours. Put the work in, have the faith, and believe you can achieve it. That is beyond what any school setting degree will teach them. So those are lessons they're taking for life. Let's flip to the mompreneur
hmm.
and mompreneur slash entrepreneur. So I want to stick on this piece about lessons for a minute. What is either the most critical lesson you've learned in this journey, or what are the most critical lessons you have learned? So is there one that just stands out, or is it a couple?
I would say the most critical lesson right now, or where we're at in our business, that we're learning is, the marketing end of
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Because before we were at home,
Right.
we didn't do a lot of marketing. We didn't, because of, we didn't want everybody coming to your home.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, generally when I would meet somebody, or I would talk to somebody on the phone, I would kind of, you know, way to spirit with spirit. So if I felt like it was, okay, they
Mm-hmm.
I can let them come on to my home. But I would say that's the one of the things that we're really still trying to grab a hold of
Mm-hmm.
and figure that piece out. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's,
Yeah. Kind of just really, you talked about it earlier, and I love how you drew that illustration. I know a lot of people are working from home now. Like it's just
yeah,
it's a reality, even myself. And for me, it's like, okay, I'm going into my workspace. Like I'm going into my work zone versus, okay, I'm going into the converted guest bedroom. to work from home today. Like you got to have that mindset to like really fuel your spirit to get through your day.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably one of the things too. It's like, okay, we are now in this full-fledged, beautiful, official facility.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that change of perspective, that mindset where, okay, we are now attracting people to not just our company and our brand for what we can do for them, but actually
Mm-hmm.
to this physical space. So I love that you identified that because you've taken the journey from working for someone else to working for yourself.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are either watching us live now. If that's you, give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. And they've got that desire to start their own business, or they know there's something else, they just can't quite put their thumb on it. What would be your inspiration to speak into them to say, you know, I'm Belinka Carter. Like, I mean, I trusted, I believed, but what is something that you would say to them to kind of spark or give them that extra push towards their calling?
Well, I guess to kind of go back,
Mm-hmm.
I started, and a lot of people may not know this. I have I was doing medical coding, so I've been home for oh God for I mean I was doing that probably 10+ years.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working from home for a long time, but I had lost that passion. Like I didn't have that love that I had for coding before. And that's one thing that I, would tell people, find that thing that, when you wake up, you go to bed thinking about it. Sometimes I can't even sleep because I'm sitting there researching, trying to figure out the next thing that I can do to help my business be successful. But it's just whatever that thing that you have, that spark,
Mm-hmm.
that you can't get away from, that you always find yourself going back to.
Right.
And you may just want to just pursue that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try it out, and then the other thing is to have those people surrounded around you to help push what's in you out. Or those people that's gonna come and say, "Hey, girl, you got it. Just just tap into it because it's
Mm-hmm.
there." And and that's another thing. And I could say with us being in this business, God has really,
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin can testify, he has really placed some people in our lives that have, even if they have a screen printing business, they're not how sometimes you come in contact with those people, they're like, "Oh girl, I ain't showing you. I got it. You got to figure it
Right.
out.
Good luck.
Figure it out." I mean, hey, but he has put people in our lives that just like, "Hey girl, what you need? I know how to do it. I'm going to help you along the way." I mean, we went to a screen printing class, and this guy that we met, he has been, I mean, a breath of fresh air, I would say.
Yes.
Because there's
Yes.
been things that we have struggled with along the way that I can text him right now and I'd be like, "Hey, how do you do this? What do I need to do?" And he's like, "This is what you need to do." And he doesn't mind sharing because where his business is, we're praying that our business get to where he is. I mean,
Yes.
he has like 3 or 4 different locations.
All
So
right.
it's like I would say, just putting, surrounding yourself with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And if whatever, like I said before, whatever you feel that's in you, just that little spark, just go for it. Because the word, I mean, like you said, you can see him under your wildest dreams, or you may have to pivot. I just go back to that. I mean, because sometimes people don't do it because they feel like, "Girl, I can't do that. I can't." Nobody's saying go quit your job and do it, because it took me a minute. I was doing the t-shirt brand plus doing my coding.
Yes.
And Kevin will tell a different story. He'd be like, one day you was just like, "I don't want to work no more." But it wasn't like that. But yeah.
No.
So
I don't remember that part, Kevin.
but I didn't have no passion. I didn't have the coding part. Was kind of like one of those things I was just doing to get a check. It wasn't nothing in it that I didn't have a love for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, I'm just gonna, hey, while I'm doing it, I'm gonna work my butt off and get my t-shirt company where I want to get it at. And it just took off, where it was like, hey, you're doing your t-shirts, and now we got somebody that come to you and we want them to print. She wants you to print shirts for her, and it just took off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all God. I know this whole journey has been God, because sometimes we think back to, like, in the bed where we would be sitting there talking, having our little pillow talk, and I remember Kevin used to be like, he used to talk about a t-shirt company and t-shirt printing and all of that. I used to be like, no, I'm okay. I'll let somebody else print our stuff. And he was, and it was like, now to go back to that and to where we are now, it's like God just put that in him, and then we both, connected and joined with it. And it was like we just kept running with it, kept running. Let God take the wheel, and we just, hey, it just excel from there.
That's it. Belinka, you said so many nuggets. Hang on.
I think you're echoing. Am I echoing?
Do you hear me echoing?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see my mic. Hello. Check 1, check 2. There we go. I'm back on now.
Yeah.
I hope whomever is watching this and you are on that threshold, and it really is. Every time I think about something that either I've done, a story like yours, Belinka, it's a threshold. You're at the threshold of where you are presently, and it just takes one step to where you could be.
Yeah.
That is you. I hope you took notes in what she just said. And if not, rewind this and play it back. Because she talked about support, surrounding yourself with the right people. Let's go back to when you mentioned talking to people on the phone when you were doing your business from home. That discernment will tell you something about people.
Yeah.
If we lean into this discernment that we have, oftentimes when people don't, they're pushing people out that need to be included in.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge component of connection. I love people. That is my thing. That has always been my passion. I was little Angela to now. That's why we're here right now talking on this platform. I love people, and I love connecting to people. I love their stories. But I think about the thresholds that are never crossed because we allow fear to be our yes.
Yeah.
When we say yes to our fear, we're saying no to that calling, no to that passion, no to what God has been calling us to do, but we just never picked up the hook to say, you know what, I surrender. I trust that what you have for me is on the other side of this moment. But we need people to be in our ear, to tell us that, to text it, to send a voicemail message, to send a note in the mail, to drop by your house and say, you know what, you can do this, and then drive off. We need people to do things like that. That's where support comes from. So this man that supported you, he don't know me from Adam Squat, but I am so thankful for him, and that he took you and Kevin alongside to say, you know what, there is room in this world for everybody if you are obedient to what you're supposed to be doing. So I'm going to come along and show you what you can do under your moniker of B&B Threads, in your name, Belinka Carter, Kevin Carter, and the Carter family, because what's for you is for you. I'm still going to have mine. That's another piece that I oftentimes, and let's bring it down, just not from people. Let's talk about the mompreneur sector in particular, of where someone is afraid to reach out to help somebody because they're like, oh, they might infringe upon what I have for me. If thoughts have crossed any of your minds that may be watching this, don't do it. Don't allow that to even plant a seed, because I can only imagine if you had that mindset, what would we be doing today? What would B&B Threads be today?
Yeah.
But you are an example, Belinka, of having a female-owned business, working well, building strong connections with other female-owned brands. It is really contradictory to the stories we've heard of the just the different things that can happen when you are trying to build a business as a woman. So you talked about that support and surrounding yourself with people. Can you talk about how you've continued to do that? How you continue to build relationships? Social media has been a big part of your story.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's talk about that in general. I think oftentimes some people are afraid to direct message somebody because they're like, oh, what if it comes off wrong or whatever. Sometimes you just got to shoot your shot. So
Yeah.
can you tell us the impact of how social media has helped you build relationships, connect with people, and ultimately grow your business, but also growing your own brand as well?
Yeah. Social media, that's been our, I would say, lifeline, because
Yep.
I mean, I'm not one of them. I always been that type of person where all they can say is no. I mean, you put it out there, all they can say is no, and you
Mhm.
might get 50 no's, but out of those 50 no's, it's gonna be a yes in there somewhere.
Yes.
So even right now, with, I talked about the market and everything. I probably am my good friend Trina, Supermom.
Shouts out,
Um,
Trina.
yeah, I reached, me and her is talking because she has a marketing background at social media. I met Trina through
Mhm.
social media, through Instagram. And that was from a DM when I was doing my brand. And I had a shirt that said Frotastic. And at this time, she just had Peyton. And I reached out, and because she was a, big blogger on
Mhm.
Instagram. And I was like, hey, Trina, I would love to send you a shirt if you'll let Peyton, wear the shirt. And that's how it all started, from
Mhm.
me just reaching out to her through a direct message. And now we're friends. I print her Supermom tees for her. And she has been, so, okay, now with the marketing, with
Mhm.
us being in the shop, I've been sending out, I don't know how many direct messages through Instagram. That has been one of my marketing tools.
Yes.
And I reached out to several. I mean, it would just be people I know doing a clothing line, or they
Mhm.
got whatever shirts. I'll just hit them up in that DM. Hey, I'm Belinka Carter, B&B Threads. I just expanded my business to I expanded my shop
Mhm.
to a building, and I just give them a little background history about myself. And from there, I have gotten, actually, I don't know if I shared Candy Brills, her friend of hers.
Oh, okay, Real
He has
Housewives. Yep. Mhm.
the Real Meaning brand. He hit us back up. He was like, hey, yeah, we need some shirts printed. The Freedom Company,
Yeah.
Village Market. I mean, it's just been a whole lot of ways that you can utilize between Facebook,
Mhm.
email, and Instagram, um, to get your brand out, get your whatever, because you don't know who's going to give you that one shot.
Say
And
it again. You say it
and you
again.
definitely don't know if you don't give it if you don't reach out, if you don't extend yourself, then you definitely would never know.
That's right.
So hey, why not just take that shot? And if they take a hold of if the fish grab the hook, amen, thank you Jesus. But if
Come
they
on.
don't, keep
Yes.
on fishing.
That's it. We told y'all in the very beginning we're from the country, so we know a thing or two about how to catch a fish. So that was the perfect phrase for that. Because I think, again, mindset is so powerful.
Hmm.
Mindset is so powerful to the point where it will push you more towards your purpose, or you'll completely miss it and look back years from now thinking, if I had just tried it,
Yeah.
if I had just said yes to the opportunity.
Hmm.
Saying yes to the opportunity could be, I'm going to send a direct message to this person.
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
going to ask for this person's email address from a connection I know. I'm going to just send a letter in the mail to this company asking for whatever it is that you feel is a desire planted in your heart. It's saying yes to the opportunity that could be.
Hmm.
While you're saying yes, the recipient on the other end of that could be saying yes to something that intercedes your purposes and connects them and causes this beautiful collision of what could be your calling.
Hmm.
I think that's it, Belinka. When you said, you know what, I'm not going to even try to just navigate this thing without reaching out to people who have been there, done that before
Yeah.
me, so I can learn from them.
Hmm.
You took the humble approach. You took the mindset to say, I don't know everything about this, so I'm going to reach out to a mentor that does. I don't know everything about this Instagram marketing blogging. I'm going to reach out to this person who has apparently been successful in this space and connect with them. But thinking back to those two relationships you talked about with the gentleman who helped you all with the printing, and then Trina Small, the
Mm-hmm.
influencer, those are still fruitful and thriving years later.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks a lot to who you are as a person. I always like to say, start how you want to finish.
Yeah.
Start going in with clear intentions of, hey, this is a calling I have. I'm not sure how to completely navigate this, but I'm passionate about it. And I feel like God is pulling me towards it. Can you help me? And to this day, you are mutually providing support services for each other. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, why is this person reaching out? Is it a one-way street type thing? But when we overcome that mentality to how we say at church, love, serve, and celebrate people. It's
Mm-hmm.
that simple.
Yeah.
Love people, serve them,
Mm-hmm.
celebrate them. Who knows what could come just from answering that direct message, sending that direct message, and building those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, Belinka, about just when you thought about starting this. I'm going to take it back to earlier in our interview. When you thought about starting your company and you were at the cornerstone, as many people are, whether you're watching this now or watching the recording, where you are purpose towards entrepreneurship. You're not quite sure of how all the nuts and bolts screw together, but you know that, oh God, that's what drives you and makes you, passionate.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have this 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You said it. You said, I had lost my passion behind medical coding. And
Mm-hmm.
when you said that, I thought about kind of how scales balance, but really also like sliding two things one in front of the other to where that passion was replaced with your true passion that fuels your purpose.
Yeah.
Talk about what life was like during that balance of meeting the expectations of that 9 to 5, but saying, you know what? I can't take a nap now because this is what keeps me up at night. I can
Yeah.
stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning doing this because I love it and
Mm-hmm.
still punch that clock at 9 a.m. to work for that 9 to 5. Tell us a bit about how that was for you with your many hats as yourself, as a
Mm-hmm.
wife, and as a mom and a budding entrepreneur. Can you talk and share with us just about that period of time for you?
It was a lot. It was a lot. As a, like you say, a mom, a wife, entrepreneur, and trying to work a 9 to 5, because it's the expectations that was on from the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But then it's like, hey, I'm not gonna not do what I need to do for my kids. I'm not gonna, I'll make sure I give my husband what he needs.
Yeah.
And then I got my business, which is my baby,
That's right.
and then then you come to a point, it's like, okay, well, if I can work this hard for somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I put all that energy into my business, my
Mm.
baby that God has given me? And that's something that I really, because like you said, it was a lot of working. Hey, then I got to go to soccer games. Then I got to, cook dinner. Then it's all those things and all those hats that you would, but you have to continue to, um, just don't give up. Keep pushing. Keep pressing in, knowing, hey, this was given to me by God.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that God has given me, I'm gonna keep. He gave me my kids.
Yeah.
God blessed me with my amazing husband.
Yeah.
He blessed me with this faith based brand that I was doing while I was doing my 9 to 5, and he even blessed me with my 9 to 5. But even though it wasn't working, I'ma still give them everything that I'm supposed to give them, because it was given to me by God. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, but then you just have to just keep driving, even though things are not working out the way that you think they should work out at that moment. You're thinking, well, hey, I could just let this 9 to 5 go. But I'm like, oh no, I got bills, we got things. This my
Yeah.
reality. It
Yeah.
ain't time. Even though I feel like the time was now, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't then. It's
Mm-hmm.
you have to know everything comes with a purpose, with a plan. And I, had to continue to stay on the path that God had for B&B Threads. So, but it's like, but in that moment, you will get weary, you will get discouraged. But you take you Get you a journal. Write down the things that God is showing you. Write down how your business is going to be once you get into the building, once you take that leap and go out there. Just journal those things down, because that was even with before I had Brooke. That was something that I did. I journaled. How do I want my daughter to be when God blessed me with her? This is things that because I was believing for that. Anybody that knew me during that time, you couldn't tell me nothing different. I was believing that God was going to give me a girl. And at the end of the day, and Kevin, he always says, he was like, even if he doesn't, it wasn't that he didn't have the ability to do that. But in the midst, I'm going to believe that this is going to come to pass. I'm going to believe God, because even before we got the building, I used to lay in the bed and dream about the building and how it was going to look on the inside, how I was going to design it, how I eventually, I was going to, once I got in the building, I was going to have my brand up front for sale. That's something that God had put in me, and I just believed that it was going to come to pass. Now, I don't know how long it was going to take, because we was in our garage for, oh God, probably about 7 years, before. And it wasn't that we couldn't have went ahead and got out, but it was like at some point, it's like God say, you got to go. This space is too small. You can't continue to, you just got to take that leap. Because when you're at a place where it's like, okay, I'm at my house, I have no overhead, I don't have all these things that I'm gonna have when I get a physical building.
Right.
I'm content. I'm good. But then you're really not good. So it's just like you just have to take that faith. But I just say to who's ever looking to start their brand, or you may already be in it, or even when those discouraging moments come, just go back to when you first started, when that thing was first implanted in you. Go back to that moment.
That's so good, Belinka. You said keep driving. And I thought about when you said just keep driving, let God take the wheel. I thought about how a GPS will reroute you to still get you to the same destination. I think your story is evident of that. You started out with just number one. Let's just go back. I told y'all, Belinka is a fashion inspiration. She's always been on trend, always just coordinate colors and just can always put an outfit together and just style it so beautifully. So it's just it's naturally how she's wired. So it's how she was born, it's how she was wired, that passion that still lives underneath, that she took that into dressing her daughter and then selling her daughter's clothes and saying, oh, I can do this into a faith-based clothing line. And now this full-fledged company, a step at a time towards the right direction. It didn't look like someone else's, but y'all still reached your own destinations in God's timing for what he saw fit to bless you with. Yeah. You also gave us some realness that I haven't heard people say often, but I always appreciate it when they do. You said you will get weary. Yeah. You will get tired. Pushing. Yeah. We need that authenticity. We need it more than ever before, especially this year with everything that has been so unprecedented, so unpredictable, so up and down, topsy-turvy. We need to hear that, you know what? You're going to get tired. You'll get weary. But where does your strength come from? Where does my help come from? And for you, that foundation is from the Lord. When you were tired, weary, and let's just be honest, and I'm certain the question came across your head at some point. Lord, is this even going to work out? Is this even worth it? Is this what I'm doing right now?
Exactly.
Is that you or is that me? Because my voice in my head is loud too. All those things that we will put in our mindset to negate what God is truly pushing us, challenging us, stretching us, bending us, breaking us to do for his glory.
Yeah.
You gave us the realness there, because I think social media is powerful. And it is such a great tool for connecting people. That's why I love it. Connecting people, learning about people's stories. But it will also show you just one side.
Yeah.
It'll show you the mountaintop. It'll show you like, oh, we here.
Yeah.
But you gotta have to go back and dig through to find the journey for many people and their stories. But I feel people, when they just see the mountaintop and they see the success, they miss the value of the testimony and the story.
Mm-hmm.
I think about the Bible, scripture. That's what that is, showing the journey and the downtrodden moments, the valley moments. Everyone's aspiring to reach that mountaintop, but what did you learn on the way there? What were those lessons on the way there? How did you serve others, and how did you help others and yourself along the way there? So you do an excellent job at saying, don't look at me. This was all God. Like, don't give Belinka the credit. Don't give Kevin the credit. You always give the credit to God. And I think about our relationship and how faithful you've been.
Mm-hmm.
Faithful from when I first met you as that wife and then mom of two. Faithful in saying, okay, we're going to plant ourselves here in this church and serve this church. Belinka and I were in the choir together, y'all. She was an alto, I was soprano, so we would sit across in the choir block from each other. And I'd look over when she was pregnant with Brooke, and I'd say, Lord, bless her with that baby girl. She is so faithful. So you've been faithful with your marriage, faithful with your family. And this faith-based clothing line that you started with, you gave it to God. I mean, all her clothing, like this, the Grace line, the Grace line was my favorite. I think I purchased everything that said Grace on it. Mm-hmm. And that's been, one of my, life words. I named my car Grace, and it's by God's grace. But you've shown yourself that everything you do is for the glory of God. And now you are in this position where God has aligned you to speak to others, mentor others. When you were that one saying, can somebody just reach their hand out to me? You're now reaching your hand out to others to say, you know what? I'm going to share with you what I've learned and help you grow along the way, because it's about relationships. It's about giving. It's about serving. As I mentioned before, there's a piece of the pie for everyone, but you just have to identify, what is God calling you to, and how have you been faithful to that calling? Mm-hmm. It's shown up in your life overall, Belinka.
Yeah.
You also mentioned, and I don't want to negate this because you and Kevin are a team. Let's talk about that marriage hat. We've talked about the mompreneur piece. We've talked about the giving that a mother does, but the giving that a wife does as well. But there's just something about the support you get from your husband. Whether you are, I'm a 9-to-5er with a 5-to-9er, what I do. You're a business owner. When you've got the support of your husband, it just hit different. That's what they're saying, right? It just hit different. And you all wake up every day, go to work every day, come home together every day, all together.
Yep, all together.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because not everybody's graced for that. Everybody don't have grace for that. Tell us about
everybody does, and it's a funny story, because when we were in the building, our neighbor, he actually did all our painting and stuff inside the building. So he's like, well, what are y'all gonna do every day? Y'all gonna be together all day? And he's like, how that's gonna work? And Kevin looked and was like, it don't have no choice but to work.
Come on.
It's got to work. I love my husband. He loves me. Not that we don't have our differences. We don't bump heads, because we do all of that. But at the end of the day, something that we established in the beginning of our marriage, it's going to work. It's no other. It just has to work, because for one, the foundation is God. He's first. And, we put him first in everything. So when we get up in the morning, before we got the car crunk up, we get in, we're praying. We're praying on our way to work. We walk in the building, we're praying. We get in the warehouse, we got our worship music going. It's like that's the foundation of it all, that we put God first in our relationship. But like we said, we have learned, you do stuff the way you do it, I do stuff the way I do it. And once you learn that, and it's like, not that you still ain't gonna bump heads, but he do it the way he do it, and I do it the way I do it, and it just works. But I do enjoy being able to come to work every day with my husband. I love that man, and I enjoy being able to ride with him to work, just eating lunch together. Sometimes we come here and we sit down after we get our Chick-fil-A. We sitting down in the little lounge, and it's like, you know what? I get to eat lunch and breakfast with my best friend every day.
Amen.
And I enjoy it. I do, and like I say, we do. It's not perfect, but it's a podcast that we listen to. And I
Mhm.
can't even think of the man's name now, but he was like,
Mhm.
"We're not perfect, but we're perfect for each other."
That's it. That come on now. That's it. And I will tell y'all, if you're just meeting Belinka for the first time watching this broadcast or watching the recording later, as genuine as sweet as she is now, she is that in person. There is no on-off switch. She is who she is. And when she tell y'all she love her some Kevin Carter, she love her some Kevin Carter. So shouts out to Kevin. I know he's there watching the interview today. But they're a beautiful example of a marriage that honors God and knows that, you know what, when we're in this car, and it's not just the two of us. Jesus is in the back seat right there with us, rolling to
Mhm.
B&B Threads warehouse every day with us. He meeting y'all there. He turning the key
Yep.
before y'all even walk in the door. You
Yep.
honor the fact that it's not just the two of you in your marriage, but it is truly a marriage that has God in the mix. And you
Hmm.
see that in everything you do, your marriage, your business, how you all raise your children. So you all are truly blessed. And I love that that's how you end at the end of your bio. You say every day we count our blessings of just how blessed we are.
Yeah.
Having breakfast and lunch together as a couple in the business that you started from a thought, from a dream,
Yeah.
just from some pillow talk that y'all had about what
Yeah.
is this going to be. You think, come on, God, what you think about this? You give the glory to God. And you
Yeah.
are just an extremely beautiful example of that. So you brought up the warehouse a couple of times. Tell us where it is and how people can reach out and connect with whatever they have. Because you don't only just do screen printing. Tell us everything about where B&B Threads is and what you all truly do there.
Okay, we're located in Stone Mountain, 1999 Parker Court, Suite F, Stone Mountain, Georgia, off of Highway 78. If you're in Atlanta area and you're familiar, we're kind of directly. You got a Chick-fil-A, then you got a QT. So we're on the street side, but it's kind of the warehouse buildings are behind a Chick-fil-A. But we do screen printing and we do embroidery. Anybody that's looking to start their brand, if you're wanting t-shirts printed for a family reunion, your company t-shirts, just whatever that you're needing. T-shirts are tote bags, pretty much we could print on pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
Masks, we do for our church and different
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. But you can reach out through, if you want to drop by in the Atlanta area, you're welcome to come in. That's something I love being able to share now because I'm like you, I am a people person and I love people. So when they come in, even though we're all masked up, it's still good just to lay your eyes on people. But phone call, you can call us 770-609-8156. You can check out our email, www.bnbthreads.com. We have an Instagram, BNB Threads, and Facebook as well. But so, yeah,
Give
again,
us
the
that
number
phone number again, Belinka.
770-609-8156. But yeah, we would love for anybody in the Atlanta area to stop by. We actually had somebody, she's not even in the Atlanta area, she's in South Carolina. She came by this week because
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to check us out and see what we were doing. And, actually some people want to see the t-shirts, feel them, the different quality.
Yes,
But, and that's something that we always say, we're building relationships.
that's it.
'Cause anybody can print a t-shirt.
Anybody.
We're like a church. You got t-shirt printing companies on every side. You can go anywhere to get a t-shirt printed. But
That's right.
it's about just building relationship with people, providing great customer service. And that's something that we really, with me, t-shirts are so, because when I started my brand, that was
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I really loved about t-shirts, because I always said it was a walking billboard. If you meet people and you never say nothing to them, it's a conversation piece. Because I'll see Angela and may not even know her, but I'll look at her shop like, Grace, girl, yeah, we need Grace, and you will start from there. It'll just start up a conversation.
That's right.
Love God, love people. You will
That's
just,
right.
it's just a conversation piece. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I always liked about t-shirts, where you
Mm-hmm.
can meet any stranger, it'll start up just a conversation about whatever that your shirt is saying, or or I had choose happiness. And
Yes.
I mean, that's something, because when I was doing my brand, that was something that I loved, that I would take words and help to be an encourager for people. And, and with everything going on in the world, everybody needs some encouragement. And and when people come in now, and that's one thing that I could say about us, being that we have had a brand, that's something that we can help people, because I'm all about helping. So I can say, hey girl, you know what, you might not want to do those fitted women tees, you might want to go unisex because they run small. I have that back on both ends, where I don't not only have my own brand, now I'm printing, so I can give you that backstory, like different things, the different qualities of shirts, how they fit, and the different issues that I dealt with in my brand. So you may not have to go through that. I can steer you in the right direction, where some things that, you may have be like, they be trial and error. They won't have to be, because I'll be like, girl, you know what, don't do that right now. And you can take it. And a lot of people that I found that I come in contact with, when people tell them different things, they don't really understand, because they haven't, that printer hadn't been through it. They just tell, they may never had a t-shirt brand, but being that I have done it, I don't ship out t-shirts, and I don't done all of that stuff. It gives me a little lead among some of the other ones, because I don't kind of walk that walk of, I know the back end, and now I know the printing end of it. So it kind of sets us apart.
You have that connection. And I forgot what I was listening to, but it was a theologian talking about ministry. And they were talking about nowadays how, people want to hear inspiration. They want to hear messages and testimonies from people that have been there, done that, some type of connection they can have with them. So as you were talking, I heard you say relationship. Anybody can print a shirt. Anybody can deliver the product. Anybody can make the transaction. Not everyone can build the relationship. Not everyone can make the connection. And y'all, when you come to the warehouse that Kevin and Belinka have, you're getting that relationship, you're getting that consultation piece, because she's been there, done that. I love that you alluded to that fact of, I can show you the two or, however many shirts that you're looking to choose between. I'll tell you the insight on this one. I'll tell you the insight on this one, how I've been there and I've done that, but what's going to best meet your needs for your brand or your company. But there's also something else I wrote there. You all provide an experience. You provide an experience. Y'all, when you walk in, number one, the facility is beautiful. Joanna Gaines, that thing. It is beautiful. It's already warm and inviting. But the experience comes from the empathy and the connection that they have for people. So you're going to feel that warmth, that authenticity that you already feel from Belinka. But if people don't feel that they can build relationship, it's hard for them to feel they can build that true understanding of a connection that you can meet their need to fulfill. And a part of that experience too, with any brand, it's what people are saying about you when they're nowhere near you. Oh, you're with B&B? Oh, Belinka is great. She is awesome. That word of mouth, it is powerful. It is pivotal. And you're going to get that from when you go visit with Belinka and Kevin. So I put the address in the chat there in the comments, as well as the phone number. Y'all reach out, y'all stop by. You'll have an awesome experience going to visit the warehouse and seeing everything that they can offer. I love that you mentioned not just the t-shirt piece, but y'all also inquire about your bags, because I honestly feel that what we're about to see in this new year, I'm optimistic that people are going to step out and step on faith for what their calling is, and that we're going to see a lot more businesses, a lot more companies, a lot more organizations and brands than we had before, because people have been either inspired or challenged in 2020 to say, you know what, life is short. I have this passion to pursue what God has given me, and I'm going to take the step to do it. So I'm believing that as we are now in this week of ending 2020 and moving into 2021, people are going to step, and they're going to step in that one direction. Whether they take a step when they dip their toe in the water, whether it's a full-on leap like you did, Belinka, they're going to take a step towards God's direction for their lives and really show up to who they really are and walk what they have been gifted to do. So I have enjoyed our time together, Belinka. We can talk all day. We could break this up into a series of all the many hats, the twists and turns. But the one thing that would remain is your foundation and faith unto God. That if he did it before, he'll do it again.
Yep.
So before we get ready to end our time, I want to ask you just specifically about your hope. When there were those moments where you were like, you know what, Kevin, this might not happen for us. Where did you find hope to believe that it would? Like, what is an example or something that you were like, you know what, at this particular moment, I found hope. Or when I listened to this song, I found hope. What is that? What was that for you?
I would say the word. Just go back to the word. It just the one scripture that I always, we be made endure for night, but joy cometh in the morning. And no matter whatever battle, whatever you're facing, that's something just about the joy that comes. That joy is just, you just get that inkling, like, Lord, no matter what I'm going through, thank you for the joy. Thank you for the peace. Because then you think about where it could be, but where it's at. You might not be where you want to be, but you're not where you used to be. And that's what I always go back to, just that joy that God gives me, that peace. No matter what's going on, no matter how the business is doing, no matter what the finances are, but I'm just thankful for the joy that God has continued to give me in my life, in my marriage, and in the passing of my mom. It's just still, even though that happened, I'm still thankful for joy, because when I look back on how far I come, this old little country girl, grew up in Lakeland, Georgia, and where I'm at now, God has been good. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Belinka, our wonderful worship pastor, Pastor Renee, just said, Belinka, you are so inspiring. And I think everyone that has listened to this, they're going to feel that same way. You really are a walking testimony of but God.
Yeah.
Of but God. And you're just saying, holding on to what he has for you and the faith that he has for you through everything. He has shown himself faithful. And I am excited for everything that B&B Threads, the Carter family, has on the horizon moving into this new year. Y'all have done a lot in the past 6 months. So I don't Lord. Anytime soon. We are, Lord, open the floodgates. Y'all call the number. Y'all reach out through social media. Y'all stop by and visit B&B Threads. But truly, Belinka, your story is one that I hope has given someone, whether today or whenever they watch this, some hope that they too can walk in their purpose of what God has for them. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you everyone for logging on. Thank you to those who will watch this later. This concludes our Hope for the Holidays series for 2020. Y'all stay tuned. I'm coming back in 2021 with another series. I'm so excited. The Holy Spirit to me like last
Love y'all. Thank you so much.
Come on, Holy Spirit. But thank y'all so much. Thanks again, Belinka. And we are signing off and hoping that you all find hope, not just for this holiday season, but well into 2021. Everybody take care. Bye.
Bye.